Whenever I was asked by a lot of people, who do you think was the greatest driver, so I said, you cannot compare because every century is different, but the only one I can tell you I like is Senna.
I think for me, Senna is top of the F1 greats.
More than an F1 driver, or like a ghost driver, Ayrton Senna dominated the circuits all through the late 80s through the early 90s, etching his name in the annals of Formula 1. But while he was at the peak of his career, tragedy struck. This is the rise and tragic end of Ayrton Senna.
Even before I got into a car, I already knew I was born to race.
To say that Senna started racing the moment he was born would sound like a lie, but it's not too far from the truth. Born in Sao Paulo, Brazil on March 21st of 1960 to a wealthy family, Senna had every privilege to be a bright star. He could have chosen to be anything. Instead, he chose to be a race driver, or maybe auto racing chose him. According to Senna, he drove his first go-kart when he was 4 years old after his father built him one by hand using a lawnmower. By the age of 13, Senna was already racing go-karts and came second twice at the Karting World Championship. 8 years later, Senna was in between his first marriage, his father's business, and his passion. Eventually, the only thing Senna held onto was his love for racing. In 1981, Senna went single-seater racing in Britain, and within 3 years, he had won 5 championships. His debut in Formula 1 was with Toleman back in 1984, where he continued to set the pace on the track. 4 years later, Senna's name was in every mouth. At the time, McLaren Honda won 15 of 16 races, where Senna bagged 8 wins ahead of his teammate, Alain Prost, who won 7. This win set the pace for one of the most infamous feuds in Formula 1 history as the two drivers became protagonists. As years went by, Senna became obsessed with becoming a better version of himself. He was soon known as arrogant, aggressive, and raw on the tracks. Arrogant for hitting a rookie driver named Edward Irvine for unlapping himself, aggressive for his driving style, and raw for his speed. However, away from the track, he was known for his most compelling personality. Though slight in stature, Senna had the ability to hypnotize a room with his brown sparkling eyes and spellbinding eloquence. Senna was at his best while winning, and his ruthless ambition provoked condemnation from critics, including Prost, who said Senna cared more about winning than living. He's also known as a devout Christian, which made others suggest that he was a dangerous madman who believed that God was his co-pilot. During competitions, it seemed like all Senna cared about was to win, but in reality, his self-absorption didn't overshadow his feelings for humanity. Back in 1992, during the Belgian Grand Prix, Eric Komas's Ligier car crashed at the Blanchimont corner and he lost consciousness while his engine was still running. As soon as Senna got to Komas's car, he stopped and rushed to Komas, held his head, and turned off his engine before the medical team arrived. According to experts, Senna's act saved Komas's life. That act was caught on camera, but what many people didn't see was his love for his children. Senna secretly gave around $400 million to help provide a better future for children in Brazil. In the early 90s, he created a framework for an organization for the same cause, which would later become Instituto Ayrton Senna. And this organization has reportedly helped over 15 million children since 1994. Well, speaking about his own future in 1994, he mentioned how he thinks it is important to live fully and intensely. As he said, "I would never want to live partially, suffering from any illness or injury. If I ever happen to have an accident that eventually costs my life, I hope it happens in one instant." On May 1st of 1994, Senna again was pushing ahead of his mates at the Dan Marino Grand Prix at the Imola circuit in Italy, when he suddenly crashed into a concrete barrier. Komas tried to return Senna's favor, but he was too late to be saved. There at the Imola circuit was the lifeless body of a legend who lived emphatically even in death. Aside from Senna's body was an Austrian flag, which he planned to hoist in honor of Austrian rookie Roland Ratzenberger, who died a day before Senna's death. Although we never get to see Ayrton Senna anymore, his legacy lives on as F1 fans worldwide didn't consider him dead, but one lap ahead of us.